Hello, Tiffany here with a Transformed Life. Now, what do you do when you have a huge crisis? Not your everyday stressors, not even those chronic stressors, but a huge crisis. How do you get through that? Especially when you're looking at the situations and circumstances involved in that crisis and you can't figure out for the life of you, what the hell do I do? Like no solution seems to present itself. I recently went through a crisis like this myself. A lot of people think that, oh, if you're involved in subconscious transformation, if you're a coach, if you do hypnosis, if you are working with your subconscious mind, then you must be near perfect because you've got all these tools, right? Well, I'll be honest with you. Sadly, we as coaches often have our own blind spots. Sometimes we need friends, coaches, and therapists ourselves to point out blind spots that we have in our lives. And so just because I do this for a living doesn't mean I'm perfect. I'm on this journey with you. Okay. So yes, I no longer live a life debilitated by anxiety. I no longer have agoraphobia. I no longer have suicidal depression. And I'm so thankful for all these things. I've come so far and I'm proud of myself. And you should be proud of yourself too for how far you've come as well. And you're going to continue to walk this journey until you find that place of peace. Peace is attainable in this life. It really is. When you learn to find that peace within yourself, irregardless of external circumstances. Now, we all know those people who have really posh lives. I'm talking that they have all the money they could want. They have all these blessings, all these material things, all these privileges, and yet they are profoundly miserable. Why? The external ducks are all in a row, but inside they're filled with negative thinking, self-criticism, unhealed trauma. And then we all know those people, and I'm thinking of one in particular that I did an interview with on my podcast. If you're interested, you could look up, I hope I pronounce his name right, Yano, Jono. I did a podcast with him. He's truly an amazing person because he literally owns almost nothing. He has the freedom to travel. He's currently living in Peru, starting a business called Unity Hub, where he's taking conscious entrepreneurs and drawing them together in fellowship and community. And this man literally is the ultimate minimalist. He owns 2 book bags full of things, and he is profoundly happy and at peace. I'm sure it's not perfect because none of us are, but the sooner you realize that your peace of mind and happiness doesn't come by rearranging all of these external things until you get them perfect, you'll never be happy. Because I guarantee you, if you have the mind, the kind of mind that you're never enough, you never have enough, you're never doing enough, you're going to reach that goal and you're going to find yourself back in the same place because your mind will just up the ante. Your mind will just say, okay, great, you've achieved that goal, but you're still not enough because now you should be here. You're still not doing enough because now you should be doing this. You still don't have enough because your house could be bigger, your car could be nicer, your boyfriend could be hotter. It doesn't matter. When you have the kind of brain that's never satisfied, you need to retrain it, okay? And then also, when the crisis comes, it shakes us to the very core. Life crisis is a test to reveal to us just how strong we are mentally. I'm not saying that to be judgmental because crisis can flatten us all. Okay, I lost one of my children, one of the worst experiences of my life. I faced a debilitating illness. And even now, I have faced a year of pain. And I have a large cyst on my spine, and I needed to get the right kind of insurance because this is not going to be a small surgery because of the location of that cyst. So that's affecting everything. I could barely walk. The pain has been excruciating, childbirth level, and I just honestly have to wait for the surgery, no matter how much pain I'm in. And it's been a crisis. No, it doesn't even compare to losing my child or some of the other crises I've faced in my life. But how do you get through when the external can't be changed? Can you have peace in the midst of something looming at you, like a divorce, your spouse, boyfriend, partner cheating, the loss of a child, the illness of someone you care about, your own illness? How do you maintain peace in those times? Because you never can tell what's coming in the future, right? No matter how hard you work, you don't know. You just don't know. I never planned on having this problem with my spine that would basically make me pretty close to being disabled at this point until I get the surgery. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful that the problem can be solved so simply. However, there are things we can't change. When my daughter passed away at 15 days old, there was nothing I could do to change that. And there are so many things like that. You cannot change the economy. You cannot change the trauma in your past. You can't change all these things. So how do we find peace in the midst of that? And I'll tell you that peace is found in the present moment. I know that sounds trite. I know you've heard it before, but it really is true. Okay. I'm not only facing this surgery, and I don't know what's going to happen during this surgery. Okay. Likely everything will be fine, right? We have such skilled surgeons, and I have picked a very skilled surgeon. So likely everything will be okay, but can I guarantee it? Can I be certain? No. I'm in a wonderful, loving relationship. Can I be certain that something won't happen to my fiance? No. Can I be certain that I won't lose another child? No. Can I be certain that one of my grandchildren won't get sick? No. We can't be certain, okay? And we want that certainty desperately. If I could just give that to you, or if someone could give that to us, that certainty that everything's going to be fine all the time. Would we worry? No, but we can't have that. So we need to spend our time living in the present moment. Now, you have a choice when you live in the present moment to stay here in this moment or to live in the past, that part that no longer exists. You can live in the past and fill your life with shame and regret over decisions you wish you had made, things you wish you hadn't done. And when you do that, you're creating movies in your mind. You're replaying the same movie. It's like you found a really awful movie on Netflix. You hated it. It was boring. It was stupid. It wasn't even funny. The dumbest movie you ever saw. It's painful for you to watch, but yet you just sit and watch it over and over again every night. And that's so much of what we do if we're caught up in the past. Okay. And then if we're caught up in the future, we make fantasies about our future. And what do so many people do? They fantasize about disaster. They think, oh, my husband, he should have been home an hour ago. And then they create a movie in their mind of him cheating or getting in a car accident. How about fantasizing that he's working hard? He's working hard late at the office. Maybe his phone died, or maybe he stopped to pick up something on the way home. We don't do that. We have that negativity bias in the brain that always wants to point out danger, but you can train that. You really can. I have done it. I don't think there are too many people on this earth that have been characteristically as negative, as anxious and depressed as me. I'm sure there's someone. But I really had anxiety as a lifestyle, depression as a part of my personality. I really had this down pat. Nearly every thought was negative. Any thought I had about myself was self-denigrating. Any thought I had about the future was dismal. Any thought I had about the past was filled with shame. And I have successfully reframed that. Am I perfect? No. Do I ever look back in the past and go, oh, I wish I hadn't done that? I do. Do I ever look towards the future and go, oh, what if something happens? I do. It's part of being human. We're not going to be perfect. It's okay. But what we want to do is begin making progress so that next month you spend a little less time in the past, okay? You've been thinking this way for a long time. It's not going to be perfect. Of course, I believe in the power of training the subconscious in hypnosis that brings change. Boom, so rapid. However, in our day-to-day lives, we still have to train our brain. So we stay in the present moment and stay out of the future. Okay, now we need to plan and make goals for the future, but what we don't need to do is spend our time worrying. Okay, so how do you find that balance? You plan and then you let it go. Have a time when you revisit your plans, when you set goals, when you take action toward that goals, but envision a powerful future. If you're going to spend time in the future, fantasize about things working out for you. If you're going to spend time in the past, pick those beautiful memories. The time your child was born, the time you won that award or achieved that goal or graduated from college or got married. Think about the beautiful moments, the precious moments in your life. Now, for many people with traumatic backgrounds, there might not be a lot of those, but they were still there. And even if they weren't, you can make those beautiful moments now, okay? Now, the key to learning to live in the present is something that I practice and promote called active meditation. Most people in 2025 are really busy. We are scrambling, especially women. We've got to juggle family, career, health. Okay, we got to make sure we feed ourselves and our family right. We're always trying to make sure we don't gain weight, right? There's lots of pressures in today's society. How do we have the time to meditate? We meditate in our lives. We meditate by using our five senses. If you sat down right now and did a breath meditation, just focusing on your breath, that's fantastic, but you're not doing. If you want that meditation, that focus on the present to translate to your life, I believe active meditation is so much better. That means whatever you're doing right now, you're focused on that activity using your five senses. So right now I'm making this video. I'm looking at the camera. I might also notice the things around the room, but I'm focused visually on the task that I'm doing. You can also use your sense of smell. That's not always appropriate, but I can smell essential oils here in my office. I can also smell a little bit of breeze coming through the window, and I'm noticing that. All of these things are contained in the beauty of the present moment. I'm also noticing tactily how I feel. I'm indoors, so there's no breeze, but the air feels cool. I'm noticing the comfortable chair. I'm noticing this sense of being supported by the surface below me. I'm listening with my ears. I can hear my voice. I can also hear some lingering traffic. Perhaps I have music playing. Perhaps I'm with a client. So it sounds very trite, but bringing yourself into this moment and observing, noticing the moment without judgment, that's the key to active meditation. I encourage you to set a timer and practice this. Maybe if you're really busy during the day and a timer's inappropriate, lunchtime's a great time. Set at least 3 points in the day when you spend 5, 10, 15 minutes really actively focusing, using as many of your senses as you can on the present moment. This is training your brain. Now, what happens when your mind gravitates towards the crisis? Okay. If my mind gravitates towards my upcoming surgery, am I going to get the surgery before the end of summer? Do I have to barely be able to walk all summer? What if there's a complication? My mind could go there if I let it, because I'm human. But none of that is going to change anything. When you can think about the future, come up with solutions, take action, that's different. But when the thing that you're facing is largely outside of your control, you have no choice but to let it go. And we don't let it go by trying not to think about it. That never works. The harder you try not to think about it, something, the more you're going to think about it. You let it go by bringing yourself back into the present, focusing there, observing with curiosity and without judgment what's happening now. My ex-mother-in-law, who's passed away, God bless her soul, was a wonderful human being. the one thing I really appreciated about her was her ability to completely immerse herself in the beauty of the small things in life. Now, she was from rural Italy. She grew up on a farm. Life was a lot less complicated, and she learned that from her culture, from her family. But she would hang clothes on the line, and this was a surreal experience. She loved it, and she would take them down, and she would talk as she was doing this and say, I just love the way these clothes smell. Oh, you hear the birds? They're singing so lovely. I mean, and this is how she would dive into these everyday experiences and make them beautiful. I think this was something a lot of people did before our hectic information overload century. It's something that we as humans naturally did for most of human existence, and we need to bring ourselves back to that, and you can do that. Since this crisis, which I admit it's not a huge crisis for me, but it's difficult to be somewhat disabled. But since this crisis, I got pretty upset about it at first. And I thought, well, God, why this? Why me? I've got so much to do. And then I realized this is an opportunity for me to learn to practice mindfulness while I'm in chronic pain. This is an opportunity for me to practice mindfulness in the present moment, this active meditation, when my mind is constantly being pulled into the future. Okay, that's what crisis does. If we don't believe we found a solution, our mind keeps getting pulled into the future, trying to get us to come up with a solution. Now, if that keeps happening, I do recommend that you try another strategy I recommend to clients, and that's called the strategy journal, where you set aside time a day to strategically look at the problem and plan. Okay, you're not neglecting the problem, you're not ignoring the prompting that your brain is giving you to come up with a solution, but you are acknowledging and realizing that you being in the future with your mind all the time, fretting, fuming, is not solving anything. So take 15 minutes, maybe at a certain point in your day, or 2 hours at a certain point in your week. Research, plan, figure things out, create action steps, reach out to people who might be able to help you. But don't allow your mind to be monopolized. Keep bringing it back. Now, this can be frustrating as hell when that crisis first erupts in your life. Okay, you're facing a diagnosis. So many people face crisis, and especially if it's a diagnosis that could potentially harm you, you're facing that crisis, and the moments that you have left are being monopolized by fearing the future. You're on the timeline of your life. A lot of it is past. There's only so much in the future. And reality and beauty is found in this present moment. There's always going to be something to worry about if you look hard enough. There's always going to be something to regret if you look into the past and really think about how much you know now compared to how much you know then. So let's enjoy this present moment. Keep bringing your mind back, and don't criticize and judge yourself if your mind shoots off into the future. Again, of course it's going to do that. This is the habit it's developed. Every time you bring your mind back, pat yourself on the back. Be proud of yourself. You've done it. Every time you do it, you're creating a habit. Just keep doing it. And what you're going to find is eventually, hooray, you find yourself spending a lot of time being like Mary and enjoying simple things in life, like the smell of laundry hanging on the line, the smile of a child you walk past in the grocery store, the feel of the sunshine, the smell of the lilac bush you walk by. We miss all that if we keep our minds dispersed in the past or the present, or in the past or the future. So I hope that was helpful, and I look forward to speaking with you again. Have a blessed day and find some beauty right here, right now.